All right, welcome to another Friday night episode of Keto Rocks. We are your threesome. I'm Jim Hobbs. To my left or right below me, I believe, is Brian Damage Forsythe. Somewheres around is Dr. Steve O. Coming to us live from Nashville, Tennessee. And Dr. Steve, why don't you announce our guests?
Our guest is Cory Cienfuegos, which means I've just had my clothes fall off.
So, Cory, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you. I'm happy to be back.
Cory is so far away, she's on a little bit of a delay, Jim. It takes a while for the signal to get all the way out to Arizona.
Well, I was hoping Billy had shipped out his turbo wheel to go out there to be able to speed up her internet so she can be caught up with Delaware. But obviously there's some issues out there in Arizona. But anyway, before we get started, it's a big day for you, Cory. It's your 50th birthday, so happy birthday.
He's just a child, just a child.
I'm zero. Yeah, I'm just a pup, guys.
So
I'm
Cinco de
just
Zero to you. So how have you been celebrating this 50th birthday? And first of all, let me just ask you a serious question. When you were in high school, did you think you would see 50? And if you did you think 50 was like really, really old and ancient?
I've always said I think I'll live to be pretty old, but I thought 50 was like beyond dinosaur when I was in high school. I was like, ugh. And then if you go back, when I was in the 80s, I was in high school. If you go back and look at my teachers that were 50 back then, they looked 100. Mm-hmm. So
they certainly do now.
I think it's true, Cory. I can relate to that. We look at our old family photo albums, Peggy and I do, and it's amazing. Like my dad, even at age 30, looks like he's 60. I mean, everybody who was like 30 looks like, add another 30 years. They looked so much older back then. I don't know whether or not it was it wasn't the hair, because my dad had not even at 30, but my mom and grandmother, they just looked so ancient, and they weren't. So
I think it was the fashion back then.
Everybody wanted to look mature and older than they were.
I don't know.
we definitely age like cheese, really good.
Oh, I was going to say stinky, because that's where I'm at.
You're insane.
Oh no, both of you down there. You guys, did you have one of your workouts before the show, Dr. Steve?
One of my workouts? Sort of. I've been sitting around all day. That's kind of how I work out. Yeah.
I can't even open my watch.
Come on.
See, Cory's struggling. It's her young hands. They can't quite master that. No, I got up at 3:30 this morning so that I could make sure to get a walk in. I've had a very busy day.
Good.
So I put on the.
What about you, Brian? You
vest. Oh.
No, go ahead. The bright yellow vest.
I didn't realize my time had expired.
There's just some lapse in the internet here, because we seem to hear somebody a day later, and then we're trying to talk at the same time, and so it just makes it for a little awkward pauses. But we will get through it if the gerbils will run in sync.
Yeah.
I don't have gerbils out here. I have jackrabbits.
They should be fast
and tasty.
Tasty. I guess we eat everything right.
So Cory, tell it. It's right. It's all, as long as it's meat, it's all good. So tell everybody about a little bit of your background, about who you are and what you've done in your life, and now you're turning 50 and what some of your goals are. But let's talk about Keto Carnivore.
Okay.
What it's done for you.
Well, it's definitely I'm definitely physically getting to where I want to be. I still have some work to do. I was actually, the last time I talked to you guys that I came on the show, I was embarrassed. I didn't want to say how much weight I had to lose. It's a girl thing, I guess. but I'm still working on it. The weight is coming off. Like I said, then that's just a bonus, but it's how I've been feeling. I truly feel like I did when I was in my 20s and 30s. I've got energy. I wake up, I go to bed. I go to bed pretty much whenever. I don't have a routine. I do get sleepy around 11:30, and then I'll stay up reading, catching up on emails. And then maybe between 12:30 and 1, I fall asleep. But by 6:30, my eyes just pop open. As soon as I hear the birds chirping, my eyes pop open and I wake up and I'm ready to go. And before, if you guys recall, back in when I last visited with you guys, that's one thing I was struggling with back in August and before, was waking up and just feeling tired all the time and just having a hard time getting out of bed, no energy. And I sleep so much better. I just do. But more than anything, the stamina throughout the day that I have, without feeling dragged down, I feel great. And last time I mentioned to you guys my hands, I never had joint pain, but when I was not eating correctly, my hands would swell a lot, and my ankles, I could tell when I would put like my shoes on. And now I'm the same all the time, and I like it.
Now, how long have you been doing carnivore keto, Cory?
Keto, I started in August when I went to the nutritionist. And then, of course, there's been hits and misses on that, depending who's in town, my family, if I'm out of town. But for the most part, about 95% of the time, I stick to what I'm supposed to. And then after the show with you guys in December, actually starting in January, I pretty much started doing, I tried to go more towards just carnivore.
Right.
And that's where I saw changes a lot faster, feeling different faster, and physically. And again, there's been slips. I know I slide off the track here and there. Family comes over with chocolate or something, and I'm like, and I'll have some, but I minimize it now because I do feel sick if I go overboard. I just feel awful. Yeah,
you know, that's an interesting point, because the one thing that I hear the most when I talk to people about this is, well, I tried, but I got headaches, I got sick. And so they almost feel like if they stop eating carbs, they'll get sick. But it's funny, when you haven't for a while, that if you start eating too many, you get sick, that the body will adjust. It will find its equilibrium.
Well, Brian, that's how you felt, right?
Absolutely.
When you went carnivore, that's when your energy levels just started to shoot through the roof. Didn't you start feeling a lot better?
Oh yeah. My workouts like kicked in. It's like I've been working out, and I just wasn't quite there yet, even with the keto. And then when I went to carnivore, it just was like night and day. And in the same thing too. I mean, that's kind of how that works when you eliminate all those foods, and you haven't eaten them for a while, and then you try to eat one, then you realize what it actually does to your body, because when you're eating it all the time, you can't really tell, you know.
I put my I can see you now glasses.
That's rarely a good thing, Cory. You might want to switch back.
We'll mute our pictures for Dr. Steve and myself, and we'll let you just look at Brian.
Brian is a beautiful, beautiful man.
Especially when he's blushing.
Oh, I can't see him.
That's a problem with weight loss. I'm not as voluptuous. I dropped a cup size, Jim, and I just don't feel as womanly as I used to.
Well, you know, there's not as much there for Mrs. Steve either.
I don't know what to do with that, but yes.
You did perfect with it. So Cory, why don't you tell people, it's like, you know, when you have hand pain, so tell a little bit people what you do for a career, what you do during the week to and people will understand how important those hands are.
Okay, well, I've done a lot of things in my life, accept prostitution, and I contemplated it a couple of times. I'm kidding. But I've done real estate.
Never worked for me either, Cory. That's okay.
Anyway, I did real estate for 24 years. I got into that industry when I was in my early 20s. And it's a love affair that I can't leave. But for now, I have my career now. I am a licensed massage therapist, and I specialize in pain management and scar tissue.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So these hands, I take care of them.
Yeah.
This is my work. This is my
How long
work.
have you been doing that, Cory?
3 years almost now. And but it wasn't my choice. It was a very bad car accident that I was in 2018 that redirected me there. And it was, can I talk openly about, can I just say it? It was God that said, massage therapy. Go back to school and get a higher degree in nursing, or go to massage therapy. While I was in the hospital recovering after the accident, God did speak to me and said that. And I looked up at the ceiling and I'm like, I really don't want to be in a hospital setting, because I don't want to be bound to a time clock. And I said, I think I might consider massage therapy. And I said, let me toy with the idea for a little bit, Jesus. Just give me about a week. Let me think about it. And when you're guided by that supreme being, there's no error, there's no mistake. And so I never knew that I had the gift that I have until I had this accident. And I've helped a lot of people not go through surgery.
Wow. God told me to be on Keto Rocks, and I haven't forgiven him since then. But how did you narrow into pain management and scar something?
Scar tissue.
Scar tissue, yeah.
Yeah, well, in the nursing field, I actually was working in traumatic brain injury on Fort Bliss in El Paso. And I worked with our service people, our military people, screening them for PTSD, anxiety, homicidal, suicidal ideation. And working with them was so gratifying for me. And I have a son who's a Marine. He's in Japan right now. But anyway, I'm all over the place. Let me try to focus here. So when I went into massage therapy, of course, they teach you all the modalities. And when we got into the sports therapy and the deeper tissue, I was zoned. I was like, oh, I mean, sure, I can send you to heaven. I can relax you and send you off to bliss. But I like talk it to you.
Oh.
So I can actually, a lot of pain comes from tension in the tissue, in the connective tissue. And if you understand how the muscles work and how the body works, and the agonists and antagonists of the muscles, you're going to address things, and you can actually avoid surgery.
Nice. Couple $25 words for you there too, Jim.
Yes, I'll be putting the announcement on the screen. Cory, now how many people do you normally do during the weekend? I mean, when you sit there and go to people, do you make house calls, or you have an office? So you go to the patient's house?
Yes, for right now, since I just got here not too long ago, my goal in the near future is to open up my pain management clinic. Hopefully by the summer, if not for sure within the year, I'll have my clinic out here established in Arizona. Nice. Yeah, that's my goal. And but for now, I do mobile massage, and I go to the clients' homes, and I work on them there. And on a Friday, it just depends, but I've worked in spa settings too. I've worked with chiropractors. Chiropractors' offices can be busy. I've done about 27 to 30 20-minute sessions on injuries. I mean, I'm slammed like from 7:30 in the morning till 7:30 at night, back to back to back. And
in a day, you would do 30?
Yeah, because I was Chiro's right-hand man. And so, and when you use your body weight properly, and your body mechanics properly, your hands do not fatigue at all. So you
Okay.
use a lot of body weight to do work, and you use your palms. Your fingers are just along for the ride.
It's my motto. Yes.
But it's physical demanding. I mean, 20 in a day, that is to me
Golly, right?
taxing on the
Yeah.
body.
You do have to build up to that, because the very first few months that I was in that, the very first day I did that, the next day I couldn't get out of bed. My rib was sore, because you use your torso a lot, and you do a lot of lunges. The people laying down don't see what we're doing, but we're actually like an acrobat. We're doing all kinds of things. So you have to eat well, and you have to stay well hydrated, because it is physically demanding.
Yeah.
Cool.
So they're getting the massage and you're getting the workout.
Yeah, and you know what, Ryan? It's so funny, because after I give a 1 hour massage, I truly feel like I got a massage. I'm so relaxed after I give a massage. I'm like euphoric. It's crazy. Mm-hmm.
Wow. Have you?
So how did the pandemic affect your business?
Completely shut it down all year. From on my birthday last year is when the US shut down. And and then Texas, at the time I was living in Texas, and they shut us down instantly till about June. And then the county that I lived in El Paso, they were shut down until maybe a month ago, like the whole year and then some. So my business that I was just starting to pick up shut down. And when I was allowed to go back and work, I was afraid. I was afraid, because I couldn't trust that my clients were not staying, that they were not going out. I didn't know if they were going out and being around people. And then when I lived back in El Paso, I would see my parents like every day, because we all lived like a quarter of a mile away from each other. So I was afraid. And so it hurt me. It did, but you bounce back.
Yeah.
So do you have to wear gloves and a mask these days, or there's
No,
no
and I
mask or
wore
no?
masks. Yes, I
Okay.
definitely wear masks, and gloves. No, because my hands guide me. My hands tell me what I need to do. I have to feel. And
Now
Steve, I already hear what he's going to say.
How do I get this reputation, Jim? Man.
You're known far and wide around the world in regards to your what comes out of your mouth. Let's just put it that way. But it's all good. It's all good.
Sure, I've brought a certain level of class to this joint.
Yes, you have. So Cory, let me ask you a question. The fact that you got into this field and you're seeing the giftings that you have, and people being healed from not having to get surgery stuff. You said something was earlier. You said diet's very important. Do you go over diet with them while you're meeting with them, and do you touch base on a keto lifestyle, or are you allowed to?
Legally, we can't really go there because we're not nutritionists, which I'm considering doing, because they go hand in hand. And it's only like a 3-month certification course I would have to take. I already have medical background, nursing. I already have cosmetology. In cosmetology, you have to learn the lymphatic system and everything just as much as in massage therapy. So I've got it all, but I would just need to be officially certified to legally say, okay, let's start a nutritional plan for you that will help you in your healing process with your massage therapy.
Right. Now, it is your family noticed your differences since you've gone keto carnivore? And have they asked you, what are you doing? And have you shared with what you're doing?
Sorry.
No, I completely understand, Cory. It makes sense.
Yeah, my brother and my sister, whose house I'm staying at right now until I can get situated, I hadn't physically seen them in several months, and they know that with my hormonal change and postmenopausal changes, that I had been struggling with putting on some weight, and they were like, my brother, he's really honest, and he's like, wow, he's like, you've lost weight. And I'm like, yeah, thank you. It's always good to hear that, guys. So lie to me all day long.
Well, you look, you lost a lot of weight since we had you in December or January. So keep it up.
Thank you. Well, it's all the massages too. It keeps you in shape.
Dr. Steve, have you ever do you get a deep tissue massage? I mean, have you subscribed to that?
It sort of weirds me out to think about, Jim. I've had this conversation with my wife, who loves massages, and male or female masseuse, they both have different, it sort of weirds me out in different directions. So I have not. Have you?
Yes, I have, actually.
And what was your experience, Jim?
Brian's
a rock star. I'm sure he has. But how about you, Jim?
My wife loves massages. And so usually when we go out of town or we stay someplace, she tries to schedule a couple massage. And so I do it because I don't need it as much as I used to. But, you can, it's amazing. A good masseuse will be able to hone right into where those knots are. And you can feel them get those out of there. And so it's amazing. I mean, there's times where I've just fallen flat asleep during the massage because it's really taken all the stress that I had built up in my muscles away. So, and then I've had some that were terrible, like the ghost guy, those type of massages where they were the worst, where I'm sitting there going, man, that really hurts. And it doesn't seem like you know what you're doing, and it just hurt. And so the whole time I'm just like, oh, please hurry and get this over with, but the ones who know what they're doing, they actually literally are able to feel with their fingertips and know exactly where those, I don't know what you call them in the profession, but those stress knots or whatever, and they're able to work those right out. And when those get worked out and your blood flow is flowing right back through, it's like you're just like in bliss. It feels awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
But Brian, you said you had how many? You had one before? That's just one?
Yeah. I had a gift certificate for a massage. It was this a woman my sister used to go to, and it was like the deep tissue, and that was rough. It was a long one too. I think it was about an hour or something, and I felt like I had been run over.
Well,
that was the only time. I'd like to try it again just to get do a follow-up assessment to see how it feels, because I didn't know what to expect the first time going into it.
Well, that right there, and that's one thing I tell people. I always ask them, have you ever had a massage before? If they say no, then you don't do deep tissue, because they will never want another massage. You want them to be able to feel the good side of massage, the relaxation, a little bit of pressure. You can put some pressure when you're like, I love to work on the legs, on calves, strictly for elongating and for blood flow. You wrap your hands around the ankle and you use your body weight, and you just kind of squeeze a little and you pull. You go gently around the knee, and then you really squeeze on the thigh up to the glute. You literally go up to the glute and you push up on the glute, because the muscles attach there. And that's where there's a lot of tightness, is in the glutes. So you you dig in.
Please say glute again. I love it.
The glutes. X-rated.
Well, this brings up a point. I'll share one of my worst experience, because she was a good masseuse. It was just the environment in which she operated out of her house. And she had this big house. I won't even name the city, but she had a dog that she let roam free through the house. And it was very much like a cat lady.
I knew there was going to be a dog involved.
There is. So I'm sitting there on the table. Of course, you're a prisoner of them. You're laying on the table, face down, the little hole or whatever, and they're just doing their thing. Well, the dog, I hear the little fancy dog footprints come into the room, and it takes a dump right underneath the table. And she's like, "Oh, I'm so sorry." And I'm like, "It's just the wolf is just coming up and hit me in the face." And so she goes out. She's, "I'm so sorry." She goes, "I should have locked him outside." She goes, and then she goes to get some type of spray perfume and squirts it, which just made it worse because now I'm smelling the good and the bad all at the same time. So I'm like, oh, the lemon at all, oh, then the dog. And so that was the longest 60-minute massage I think I had, because I'm sitting there. I was like, oh no, it's okay. Meantime, I'm about ready to gag. You know, I was almost like, can you bring me a bag so I put it underneath this hole here, because it was terrible. But she was a good masseuse, but it was a terrible environment for that one massage I got there at her place.
Like that cost you extra.
So you had that hole that like faced the dog.
Oh yeah,
dog poop.
front row
Yeah.
seat.
Front
Yeah.
row seat, yeah.
Oh
So-
my Lord.
Wow, that story did not disappoint, Jim. That was A+.
Okay.
Wow.
So let's talk about positive things now that I've darkened the mood with my dog poop
The
story.
dog felt pretty good afterwards.
He was not respecting my space as much as I was respecting his. But
You were in his house, Jim. Let's
I
be
was.
realistic.
That is, and that is correct. So, but what cooking projects have you guys been working on this week? I don't know. The big question I want to know is the tongue still in the freezer, or have you done something with the tongue, Brian?
It's still in the freezer. I got that recipe you sent. That looks like a good one.
That required no peeling. I did not see anywhere in that recipe where it says you peeled the taste buds off.
Oh yeah, you do.
Oh, do you? Okay.
Yeah, you have to. Yeah, it's not, after you boil it, it says let it cool down and then peel it, and then you.
Dr. Steve, you're making faces, but yet this is your job. You got to go over there and peel the taste buds off.
What does this job pay, Jim?
You get a chance to share it. You get a little tongue for Brian.
Free tongue talk.
I do enjoy talking with Brian, I've got to say. And Smokey has halfway warmed up to me. Like
Well,
Smokey doesn't look at me with disdain anymore. It's more indifference.
well, that's progress.
That's what I'm saying. Wish my kids would get to that level. Yes.
So, Brian, do you see yourself taking on this task anytime soon?
I don't know. I haven't planned it out.
Okay.
So we'll see. I have to sort of think ahead because it is frozen solid.
It's good. You're gonna love it. It's really tender and juicy. It really is. And I know you're a little restrictive on what you intake, like tomato sauces. There's some that don't have sugar, but either way, tomatoes will have some carbs. But the way my grandma used to prepare it was she would make like a little sauce with tomato sauce and then add some cilantro and garlic powder, little other spices, green chili, mild green chili. And it's so good. And you can, well, not us. We can't add potatoes to it, but she used to add potatoes to it. So it was kind of like a stew, but not really a stew.
Right.
But it was, but the meat is juicy and tender.
It's very much like a pork belly. That's how I felt the texture to be, very much like eating pork belly. But Brian, last week you said you had some at the Cat's Deli in New York City. So how was your experience with it there?
It's funny. After you posted the picture of that deli, I'm like, oh, that wasn't a deli. It was some other famous deli. I guess New York probably has a lot of famous delis. But anyway, it was on a sandwich. So, it was sliced like a thin roast beef kind of thing. So I don't know. It just tasted like beef.
So did you purposely ask for this on the, I mean, how do they have that up on the menu? And did you purposely go, oh, I'm going to try that? Or did someone say, hey, I dare you to take the tongue sandwich, the tongue sub?
No, actually, I think it may have been our manager at the time who took us there. Yeah, I think he suggested it, so I took his suggestion.
And you liked it, right?
Yeah, yeah.
You were going to say something, Cory?
Oh yeah, I posted it on the keto retreat page. It's called buche in Spanish. It's basically pork stomach and part of the esophagus. Sometimes, not always. But it's. Have you guys ever had tripe?
I can't
We
recall.
just lost Dr. Steve. He's reaching for his bag of pork rinds and his American cheese.
Yes. What's wrong with a hamburger, you people? Man.
You need
So-
variety.
So buche is basically tripe, but not beef. It's pork, and they boil it for hours, and then you chop it up. And my family, we spice it up with I don't know if you guys are familiar with what chorizo is.
Oh,
Chorizo is yeah. So you get chorizo quite a bit, almost equal amounts, and you, of course, you brown the chorizo first, then you put it all together, and that's it. And then you can add a little bit more salt, and it's really, really good. And of course, before all this lifestyle change, we would eat it in little corn tortillas. But I ate it the other day just on a plate, just like that. I made a fresh homemade pico de gallo, which is just jalapeno, cilantro, tomato, onion, and some lime, garlic powder. And I threw that on top of the buche, and it was really, really good and very filling.
Now, what do you typically eat on a day? I mean, you're 50 now, so and you're losing weight, you have energy. What's typically what you're eating during the week now? Because you got a pretty busy schedule.
Yeah, I don't wake up hungry. I don't eat till about anywhere between, it just depends. I'm with my sister-in-law a lot right now. She works from home, so I'll cook for us. And I don't expect them to eat at 1 or 1:30. So I'll cook around 11, between 11 and 1. And I make steak and eggs every day. I'm happy with that every day. Steakin'.
It's like a steak but one letter further. I wrecked my own punchline, Jim. Jeez.
So, but I can eat steak every day for breakfast. I absolutely love it. Steak and
No
eggs
need
and
for
bacon.
tripe. That's the point. Yes.
You got to try it.
Now you're talking his language. See, now you throw a bottle of ketchup and you'll have him jumping through the screen.
Ketchup on a steak.
Yeah, so you mentioned ketchup and all the other people.
Yeah.
The normal
What?
people start to run to Cat's Deli to order the tongue sub.
Wow. No. So yeah. So right now, when I eat right, and I'll say it like that because it's like if I'm by myself again, when I live on my own again, it'll be so easy to just go right back and zone in and do what I got to do. But I'm, around my niece. She's 16. She's always hungry. She doesn't always want to eat steak and eggs. She gets tired of it right away. So I try to switch it up a little. But then they have these chocolate covered almonds all the time on the island. And I'm like, oh, so I walk by them. I try to ignore them. And eventually days later, I cave in and I have like a handful of them. I slip off every now and then.
Yeah, they're evil.
Confession's good for the soul.
Right. And then I get a lot of my carbs from these. I'm not a heavy drinker, but I do like to have one like on a Friday night when I've done like 8 or 9 massages. My brother, they've got a fridge in the garage, to entertain their guests and stuff. And I'll go grab a couple of Coronas, dress them up with the lime and salt, and I'll drink that and just chill and go to bed. So I save my carbs. I get that out of my beer when I have a beer.
Now, do
Very
you do intermittent fasting, Cory? Are you just eating 1 meal a day, or are you eating breakfast and your meal time or dinner time meal? If I lived on my own, I would probably just be eating at 1 or 1:30 once a day because I don't get hungry. Now, when I do a lot of massages, I do get home hungry though, because I'm burning a lot of energy. Calories, yeah.
And so, sometimes I get home at 8:30 or 9 and it's too late to make a steak. If I live by myself, I do it, but I got to respect their sleep pattern. So I'll just get like a cup of yogurt and put some walnuts in it and suffer, and a stick of cheese and pretend it's a steak. Yeah.
So talking about steaks, hey, Dr. Steve, Mrs. Steve, how did the brisket come out? You guys were going to have the rest of the brisket that you and Brian cooked. How did that come out for you?
came out great. I think I ate most of it myself. Went through like a half a bottle of ketchup. It was a big chunk of meat. Yeah.
Oh, Brian is doing
I
ketchup
put
shots.
mine in a dirty shot glass. Come on.
I keep missing
Wow.
Brian ears. I only see Steve and hold on, let me try something.
Cory, I'm all that you need to see.
Now you're big. I turned my phone. Can you see me right?
Yeah, we see you fine. It looks like a beautiful day there in Arizona, or where you're in Arizona or El Paso. Where are you?
No, I'm in Arizona. Check that out. Look at the
It looks
mountains.
beautiful.
Yeah. It's so pretty.
What's the temperature out
it's
there
the
today?
warmest. I'm gonna say, let's see. I'm gonna say it's about upper 70s today. It's probably the warmest day in like the last 2 to 3 weeks. It's been pretty cold. Yesterday was cold. It was like 50s. That's not cold, right?
Oh, that's pretty much been our weather here. Today was rainy and probably in the 50s. Tomorrow's supposed to be 75, so it is a warmer day tomorrow.
Yeah, out in LA, they used to when it got into the 50s, people would be wearing coats. They thought it was like
cold. Oh, that's another thing, guys. Okay, so this is how I know I'm losing body fat, because I was cold yesterday and I'm always hot, and I actually could not stay warm, and so I'm noticing these little changes in my body. So for one, I guess when you have less body fat, you are colder. I don't know. That's what's happening to me.
Well, just keep doing what you're doing, because I pray that you get to the goal that you have set for yourself. But the reality of it is your body has a goal in mind, and you'll just keep doing what you're doing. Your body will plateau or get you to where you want to be. So
I think what's slowing down the process for me is I've just been so unsettled that I can't get into a routine that I want. And I'm hoping that will come by summertime, so that I can get up and go for my 3-mile walk every morning. Once I start walking, physically, everything changes for me, with the way I'm eating now. And if I can incorporate a little bit of exercise, I think the changes that I want to see will come a lot faster. So for right now, they're just gonna have to enjoy a fluffier version of me. Yeah, it is what it is.
it is what it is. Brian, have you resumed your full workouts, or you restricted yourself because you're back for just a couple days, but you back doing full workouts?
Oh yeah, I jumped right back into it. The back thing only lasted 2 days, and then I was back at it. Actually, it seems if I jump back into it, it sort of straightens itself out by doing it that way.
Where's your back hurting?
Oh, I just tweaked it on a deadlift.
He was lifting that egg that
in
Billy
the
sent
center
him.
of your back?
She said, where is it hurting, Brian?
Oh, yeah. I mean, because normally I have lower back problems, but this was in the middle. So I just, yeah, I grabbed the bar wrong and it wasn't a muscle. I don't know what it was, but it was gone in a couple days.
How's the headaches been?
The headaches?
They gone?
Yeah. Yeah. You know what I did though? I've got this new book. In fact, let me look at the title here. It's very interesting. I got it on Audible, so I'm thinking about getting the physical book so I can go back and look at pages, because you can't do that with Audible, and I can't listen to the whole thing all over again. But it's called The Iodine Crisis, and because I take a couple drops of iodine every morning with my electrolytes, and I stumbled onto that book somehow, so I ordered it and started listening to it, and I upped my iodine intake from, I guess I was doing like 2 drops, which is only like 10 or 12 milligrams.
Right.
And I bumped it up to like 60 milligrams the last 2 days. And it's made a huge difference. I can't believe how much better I feel all of a sudden. It's like I've got like all kinds of energy and that's the other thing. I did have a dull headache the first day, and then I took that huge dose of iodine with my electrolytes, and then plus I'm drinking salt water too, a little bit more, and it completely like cleared up everything. But so that's
Wow.
my new thing now. I'm like,
Iodine, huh?
yeah.
I'll have to check that out.
Iodine and tongue.
What?
You don't want to know, Brian. He was just saying tongue, iodine and tongue. But hey,
I didn't know what you said. Okay.
well, how did have you broke the green egg open yet? That's the other question.
Ooh.
No, not yet.
Oh.
Well,
Oh,
Has it
his
hatched?
I mean,
His award.
His award, yeah.
You can't. I was laughing so hard when you guys were like, Brian carries it around like an award. Oh, you guys are funny.
So let that you
So
said
you
something.
haven't cracked the egg.
no, I haven't.
You said you're listening to this iodine book. It's on audio, correct?
Yes. Well,
Okay.
there's a book too, but I got the audio version so I could walk and listen.
So the question is your book also going to have an audio version where you're literally the one reading the book so people can get the audio book?
Well, we talked about that. I'd like to.
That's awesome.
But yeah, I don't know how that works with self-publishing, but yeah.
I mean, we need a book first, but
That's true.
He's got the first half done. I mean,
well,
you can
you know
go
what,
ahead
Jim?
and you can
I
go
stand
ahead and
corrected.
start. You can go ahead and start recording the audio for the first half of the book. That way, when you get the second half done, the audio is ready to go out as a teaser.
I've only got this much more.
Look,
I've done this much, and there's only this much more.
Oh, wow, now that
I
and a
like
dime for perspective. Yes, scale.
so it will be done by August. So just stop your worrying, Dr. Steve. It will be done.
I don't-
actually getting through it, and then hopefully this iodine will kick me into overdrive.
Woo! All right. And then you've got the magic tongue in the refrigerator. Yeah. And I'll come over and help, and I'll say, Brian, you gave me some good tongue.
Oh, that will definitely make the YouTube airways.
Wow.
Mrs. Steve will be. What did I hear? Someone made me aware of, or she would
Yeah.
go, "Oh,
She knows me. She wouldn't listen anyway. Yeah.
I hear you." Well, talk about. Hey, so what did you and Mrs. Steve do over the weekend, there, Dr. Steve? Did you have one of your away games or home games, or what were you doing?
Oh, well, so I had former Pro Bowl NFL running back on my show a while ago, and he lives in Nashville, and he called me and he said, I got 25 8 and 9-year-olds that are going to do a football camp with me. Would you mind showing up and just doing like interviews with them? I'll have a videographer, and the kids can feel like they're real NFL players. If you do just improv, spontaneous. He said, you just be you. And I said, that's the last thing my wife ever wants me to be if we're filming it, but okay. So I did that most of the day Saturday, which was really cool. And the kids were cool. And then that evening we had a home game. So my Saturday was filled with sports and talking. That's a good day.
A good day. Yeah.
Anything that Brian can fill his day with sports is also a good day. He's relating to me.
Are playing.
Brian's like, NFL? What is that? It's like, is that rodeo? What is that? Yeah.
To Brian, a Super Bowl is a bowl big enough to carry 2 bags of pork rinds in it. That's the Super Bowl for Brian.
Super.
Well, for me, going to a sports event at an arena would be like a Stones concert. In fact,
Yeah, I'm with you on that one.
on questionnaires, when they say who's your favorite sports star, I always put Keith Richards.
I like it. I agree with you.
That could, you're not into sports either, Cory?
Nah.
Okay.
I find it boring. I think the highlight for me of Super Bowl is the performance and depending who's performing. But I'm just as big as my entire family is on sports. I'm just not a sporto. I just never have been. I would watch a concert any day, even on TV, over a game.
All right. Fair enough. It's just you and I, Steve.
All right.
Yeah, I have a friend. He was he's a Hall of Famer, Gary Clark of the Washington Redskins. He holds camps. He does camps around here for youth. So that's a great idea, though. He hasn't done. A matter of fact, I'll tell him that's a great idea what your guy did, because that just makes the kids that just means so much to them, and they get a chance to send that as an email to them. Man, they go to their parents. They're smiling from ear to ear.
Absolutely, and it promotes the camp.
That's awesome.
So
That's
I
a
asked
great.
the kids, like, just between you and me, what do you think of Coach McCluster? And just kind of hear what the kids have to say about him when he's not around.
Yeah, you got some blackmail material there for you. Like, hey, we're going to go out to dinner and you're buying. What? Yes.
He owns a Bentley, Jim. He would buy anyway.
There you go. Wow, that's some circles you're hanging out with then.
Don't hang it out with, please. I am not at the cool kids table most of the time, Jim. That's the fellow underneath you there, the rock star.
So, Brian, what do you got looking forward to this weekend? What do you got going on? Wait, talk about Kix shows. When's the next actual Kix show going to take place?
It looks like it's going to be May 7th.
And that's the Frederick, Maryland drive-in show?
Yes. And there's another one.
Nice.
I don't know if it's announced yet, right at the next night after, but so I don't want to say too much on that.
Buy your plane tickets, Brian. It's a sure thing.
I was just going to say that.
No comment.
I bought me this retreat about a month ago. I wanted to ensure that I had my ticket.
That's right. Cory will be there at the retreat. That's right.
Oh no, I said yes. I said I'm very much looking forward to it. It's everyone seems so just open to meeting each other, and a lot of cooking. I'm looking forward to it.
And you get to meet Brian. And he's a beautiful, beautiful man.
And I get to meet Brian, and I get to get an autographed book. Pressure. Pressure.
I'm looking forward to one myself.
I get a book and maybe a guitar pick. Let's see, what else do I want?
I'm looking forward to get Emily's, hopefully she's going to make her coffee cheesecake. So Emily, if you're watching this, I'm very interested in you demonstrating how to make your coffee cheesecake.
That
And,
sounds great.
I think Brian's in his podcast. I think, Brian, that your cheesecake episode was your most popular, most downloaded one of all, wasn't it?
Was it?
I think it was. I might be wrong, but it was. If it ain't top, it's top 2.
I'm terrible about, I don't even look at that stuff. I don't even notice if people even look at those things. I just sort of just throw them out there.
You're such a rock star, man. Oh man.
I made a cheesecake, guys. I know we're getting ready to wrap it up. I'll hurry. I made a cheesecake when I first got out here. I loved it. It had cheesecake or cream cheese and chocolate. And I basically followed Brian's recipe, but I added cocoa powder to the cream cheese so that it was just a chocolate cheesecake. And they didn't like it. So I ate it pretty much all by myself.
Crying with a spoon. Yeah.
But then I showed my brother Brian's recipe. I said, well, this is what I was trying to attempt, but I didn't make it. I created this. My brother's like, now that I would eat. So
Wow.
there you go.
Your own flesh and blood. Wow.
Yeah, Brian's the Vanessa of who's the person in Wheel of Fortune? Who's the one that
Vanna White.
Vanna White, that's it, not Vanessa. Vanna White. Because all his presentation, all his dishes are presented in such a way that you just want them.
Yeah.
And so
Well, that's I mean, there's no use to take a picture of it if it doesn't look good, you know?
But it's like a masterpiece. Like, you should have an art gallery with just your foodie pictures, just, the the blue plate special. I mean, you literally could have an art gallery of just your food pictures. They start to get your stomach going. Like, man, I wasn't hungry until I looked at that, and it is getting warm. And Brian,
that's my goal is to trigger that, you know.
Well, thank you, appreciate it. Start calling you the sugar industry people, executive or something, trying to do something that's not good for me. But your chocolate, your Coke. Now, what in the world? I can't even talk right now. Your coffee ice cream that you make. That Cory, that is an awesome recipe. And Dr. Steve, if you've never had his coffee ice cream, it's mocha. What is it? Mocha something. Mocha coffee ice cream. You named it something.
Yeah, it's I use espresso.
Well, make it in August, but it has to be decaf coffee for me. I don't do caffeine. I'll explode. Like literally, I'm already so hyper.
No kidding.
No, it gives me really bad heart palpitations. Caffeine does. I've been caffeine free since I was 26. The only
caffeine free since lunch.
The only caffeine I have is whatever little bit is in chocolate, and I minimize that. So, but yeah, I love coffee, but it's all decaf. So if you make anything like that, Brian, make a special batch decaf, please.
All for you.
It would be rough though, because I need.
Why?
Well, because you need the ice cream maker thing and this and that, and
I'll bring mine. I got mine. I got the same one. I'll bring that one. We just need to bring the grinder to grind the beans, the espresso, and I'll do that too. That I can bring.
Nice.
So
Brian, you got yourself into that one, man.
I can't find a flight to get to the event.
Book it now.
Also, ice cream is a two-day recipe too.
Strong move, Brian. Good job.
That's why it's Friday. That's why it's Friday to Sunday.
Oh, counterpoint.
Oh, hey, that's a good close. I didn't even think of that. I'm gonna get there Thursday. I got a long flight. It's going to take me, I think, 8 hours, and I have like a 2.5 hour layover. I can't remember where. I think in Atlanta.
Some decaf ice cream would be awfully good after that flight.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Sitting back with that cup of that espresso, mocha, ice cream, keto
bone broth over the top of that, Brian. Yeah.
Sitting back in your beach chair, reading your autographed book, autobiography of Brian Damage Forsythe.
Dreaming of some good meaty tongue. Yeah.
All right. Well, I think this pretty much wraps it up when we get to that point. And Brian, why don't you tell people who may be watching for the first time what bit of advice you would give them if they're watching this for the first time?
Don't take us seriously.
I think what spoon feeding you your meat line.
Oh, my line. You're trying to coax that out of me. Oh, yes. Eat your meat.
It was perfect. Thanks, Brian. Thanks for closing us out. Everybody have a great week. Happy birthday to Cory. Dr. Steve, what do you got to share? We'll let you share something. What do you got?
Well, you just had the perfect wrap up and then you throw it to me. What is that all about? I gave the meaty tongue line as an outro.
Yes, that's true. Yes. I take my hat off for you. That's true. Yes, you did. All right, everybody.
Leave your hat on, or Cory's got to put her sunglasses back. So yeah.
I've got a closing statement.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Because
this
I love
will be a
meat
first.
and I've got my hands, so my hands like to beat the meat.
Beat your meat.
All right. Well, we'll see you guys next week, everybody. Stay safe, stay well, stay out of the hospital. And hopefully we have somebody that'll watch us next week.
Cory's a little giddy this evening, gentlemen.
She's on her 5th margarita.
Yeah.
All right.
Ah,
Bye.